Hey folks, welcome and thanks for tuning in. Today's project, we are going to be finishing a piece of old barn wood. A buddy came and dropped off a nice slab here. It's a 100-year-old piece of barn wood. He's going to use this for a table for the inside of his carver. As you can see here, it's a pretty rough piece of wood. It's over 100 years old and has a lot of beauty marks in it from just being used over the years. This looks like it was a few 2x8s that were glued together to make a nice slab. And you can see a lot of character in the wood, a lot of screw holes and things going all the way through it, a lot of knots, a lot of just unfinished pieces on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a lot of work into this. We're going to get it cleaned up, and we're going to turn it into a nice table for the interior of his boat. But to get there, there's quite a bit of finishing that has to be done. The first thing I did is I turned over the table. I taped off all the holes from underneath. And then what I did is I came through and I filled all the holes with a blackened epoxy. I did that for a couple different reasons. I like filling holes with epoxy. There's a lot of folks that will finish holes with a black hot glue or a crayon or wax or something like that. I find that those just have a tendency and possibility of failing over time. So I like going with the black epoxy. I also like going with the black epoxy because it gives nice contrast for the wood when you're done staining it. For stain, what I did is I chose, this color is called Honey. I tend to use the honey on a lot of different projects. For me, I just like having the brown and reddish undertones. I think it's just a really nice finish. Then after I stained it, I came through and I used some tabletop epoxy, some self-leveling epoxy. First thing I did is I took the paint stick here and I kind of pre-filled any of the little potential low spots I saw. And then I came back through and I dumped the epoxy over the entire table. I did this application a couple different times. One, you'll find on the first coat, it will suck in quite a bit, maybe shrink a little bit. And then on the second coat, you'll find you get really good coverage. After the epoxy set up 24 hours, I then came through and I sanded it. I'm using a Mirka sander with a vented disc on it to suck up a lot of the sanding residue. You can see the shop vac there as well. This does a really great job cleaning up all the sanding residue, or at least the majority of it. After I sanded it flush with 400 grit, I then came through with 800 grit. And again, I used an Abernet 800 on this. The Abernet does a really nice job sucking up a lot of the sanding residue. After I got done with the 800 grit, I then came through, I hand sanded all the corners. Anytime you have hard corners like that, you want to hand sand it because you could easily sand through with the machine. After that, I blew it off with the air compressor to take off the majority of the sanding residue. Then I came through with Petit brushing thinner to wipe down the entire surface. I use the brushing thinner for a few different reasons. One, it just does a really great job cleaning up sanding residue. Two, when you're sanding and prepping your projects, if you have, you're not wearing gloves, something like that, you could put contaminants on the surface. This project was done over the course of a couple days, so there wasn't really a lot of contamination on it, but I always like to double check and make sure I'm not going to have any type of issues on the surface. A lot of folks ask me why I wear black gloves in my videos. Quite simply, it's a great way to check for contamination or check for sanding residue left behind. You'll find if you rub your black glove over your project and if any white sanding residue or colored sanding residue comes up, you know that you have to continue cleaning that surface. So that's one of the main reasons why I wear black gloves. All right, moving on to the varnishing piece of the project. So I'm using Petit Captain Satin Sheen Varnish V975. It's a very durable varnish. It's a urethane varnish, so it dries quickly. You can put multiple coats on in a single day. So what you're going to watch me do over the next, few minutes here is you're going to watch me apply this varnish using the roll-in tip method. The roll-in tip method for me, and there's quite a few ways to do it. Some folks will say there's only one certain way how to do it, but that's just not the case. So the way I tend to apply the product is I will apply it in a single direction with a roller, and then I will tip it off in the opposite direction. So here you'll see I'm applying the satin sheen varnish left to right with a closed cell foam roller, and then I am tipping the varnish front to back with a foam brush. In this type of application, nice flat slab like this, the product is going to do the majority of the work. So a foam brush or a legitimate tipping brush would be perfectly fine. You'll find here shortly, you'll see just the finish and how nice it is. So again, closed cell foam roller left to right, and then a tipping brush or a foam brush in the opposite directions. So I am rolling this out, I'm tipping it, and then what I do is after I have the top bowl taken care of, I'll then come back around and I will do the edges. Same exact process. I will roll it and then I will tip it. That instance you'll see me rolling and tipping in the same direction, but it's for a very small piece of real estate. Alrighty, here I am. I'm a little ways into the second coat here. Same exact process. Left to right with the roller, front to back with the brush. Now, why did I choose the satin sheen varnish? Well, a few different reasons. One, a satin sheen varnish will hold up very well to daily wear and tear. He's got a couple kids that will be dragging, dishes and drinkware across this, so it'll do a great job hiding that. The urethane type of chemistry will hold up really well to cleaning chemicals and things like that. And then just overall, the urethane is it's nice to work with in this type of situation, this type of application. It's very forgiving. And I wanted to really retain a lot of that rustic look and feel with this slab of wood. It's a beautiful piece of wood, and I wanted to really keep that essence. So I thought the satin sheen varnish would do a really great job with that. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up here. I'm going to play some music to take us out. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.